Let me open with a strange thought. What if the life you're living right now isn't the only one that's yours? What if there are near-endless versions of you, spreading out like branches, each living at the same time? In one, you're wealthy. In another, you're struggling. In this reality, you might be American. In a nearby branch, you grew up German. Somewhere else. Maybe none of us made it this far. Sounds ridiculous at first, right? I'm here. I'm breathing. How could there be other me's? Yet as our understanding of existence expands, the idea doesn't look so impossible. In fact, it becomes uncomfortably plausible. And what makes this even more intriguing is that, long before we had particle accelerators and supercomputers, certain thinkers were already describing truths we're only now beginning to test. They told stories, preserved teachings, and hinted at patterns of reality that modern science is just starting to name. If you love science fiction, you've likely bumped into one name over and over: Philip K. Dick. To call him just a sci-fi writer misses the point. He insisted he wasn't merely inventing worlds, he was recording what he perceived. One of his central obsessions? Multiple realities. Not as a gimmick, but as a serious lens for asking, what is real? Who am I across the possibilities? Philip K. Dick's lifelong interrogation of reality began with loss. He wasn't born alone, he had a twin. 6 weeks after they entered the world, his sibling was gone. People often say, they're only a baby, they won't remember. But memory isn't only the stories we can tell. It's also what the unconscious records and carries. Early wounds echo. Therapists see it all the time. Traumas from before conscious memory, shaping who we become, pushing questions to the surface. Where did the other half of me go? What is missing? By the 1960s, an era soaked in tension and change, Dick chased creativity and calm in risky ways. Yes, he used substances. Yes, the times were infamous for it. But here's the twist. He didn't drift into the wallpaper. He wrote, furiously. 16 mind-bending novels in 5 years. He wasn't asking us to admire his hallucinations. He was inviting us to question the floorboards of reality. Take The Man in the High Castle. Not a heroic America, but a world where different victors rewrote history, and society was rebuilt on that alternate foundation. It isn't about politics, it's about the contingency of what is. After a powerful, sober, mystical episode in 1974, Dick plunged into the Nag Hammadi texts, early Gnostic writings uncovered in Egypt, wading into a deep sea of esoteric thought that shaped his later work. He came to see our world as a kind of compromised construct, fashioned by something less than perfect, feeding us narrow streams of information, keeping us from the larger reality. In his view, what we call the world is only one among countless realities. Become aware of that, and the bubble pops, gone in an instant, replaced by another frame of truth. You might dismiss this as the ramblings of a troubled genius. But step back. He wasn't the first to say it. He was joining a chorus that stretches across centuries. Clues about layered existence, levels beyond the visible, appear in wisdom traditions all over the world. Today we often shelve these under mythology, as if that label means fiction. But what if those stories were how ancient people tried to encode a lost science of being? Cosmology, translated into parable? Travel with me to ancient Greece. Plato's allegory of the cave. Humans chained underground, mistaking shadows on a wall for reality. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's timeless. What our senses deliver may be a dim reflection, not the thing itself. The true resides in what Plato called the world of forms, pure patterns, grasped not by sight or touch, but by reason. It's a philosophical backbone for the hunch that our universe could be a shadow of a higher order. Go further back. Anaximander spoke of the apeiron, the boundless, the indefinite source from which all things arise and to which all return. Some ancient commentators suggest he envisioned countless worlds emerging and dissolving within that infinite. It's a startling ancestor of the modern idea. Our universe might be one bubble in a vast ocean of possibility. From the boundless, many cross to the east. In Hindu cosmology, reality unfolds across lokas, realms layered above and below, including Svarga Loka, the abodes of devas, Pitri Loka, where ancestors dwell, and various Naraka realms of suffering, while Bhuloka is our earth plane. Sacred texts speak of 14 fundamental worlds, 7 higher, 7 lower, suggesting a cosmos far more intricate than what our 5 senses report. Echoes of this appear in Abrahamic traditions as well: 7 heavens and 7 earths, a universe composed of levels, veils, ascents. Consider samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and Maya, the shimmering illusion that entangles awareness. These ideas warn, don't mistake the show for the source. Muslim mystic Ibn Arabi wrote of creation renewing at every breath, new worlds manifesting moment by moment. The Quran calls the divine Lord of the worlds, plural. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna offers Arjuna a vision of innumerable forms, countless faces of the One. In Kabbalah, the Sephirot describe the Creator's emanations across 10 planes. Multiply examples if you like. The melody remains the same. Reality is layered, creation unceasing, and the soul journeys through many states of being. So what are these layers? Are they simultaneous tracks where different versions of events unfold, as Dick intuited? Are they branches created by each choice, as some physicists propose? Are they the subtle planes sages describe? Worlds condensed from energy by consciousness and returned to after death? Or, hear me, all of the above? Let's switch on the lab lights. Classical physics, the world that grew from Newton, presents a single objective reality ticking like a perfect clock. But then came quantum mechanics, and the clock face shattered. At the subatomic scale, logic bends. Particles appear to be in 2 places at once, worse or better, in all possible states at once, until measured. And the act of observation, simply looking, seems to help decide what becomes real. To address this, a young physicist named Hugh Everett proposed a daring idea in the 1950s. What if the quantum wave never collapses to one outcome? What if, when possibilities diverge, reality branches, and each possibility continues in its own right? In this many worlds view, every decision, every measurement, every yes and no spawns another path, another world, another you. Later, Bryce DeWitt popularized the name that stuck, the many worlds interpretation. Other frameworks open the door wider. String theory suggests the universe is not built from tiny points, but from unimaginably small vibrating strings. For the math to hold, extra dimensions appear, usually 10 in string theory, 11 in M theory. Why don't we see them? They may be compactified, curled up beyond our resolution, or we may be living on a 3-dimensional brain, one sheet among countless universes in a higher dimensional space. Parallel brains could drift near us without strong interaction, hard to detect, but real. Physicists have even speculated about the colossal energies required to hop between universes, a scale so extreme it's essentially unreachable with any technology we can imagine. Cosmology adds another engine for multiplicity: inflation. In the earliest sliver of time after the Big Bang, on the order of 10 to the negative 36 seconds, space is thought to have expanded at an almost inconceivable rate. In eternal inflation models, that process doesn't end everywhere at once. Pockets finish and become bubble universes, each with its own constants, its own rules. Our observable cosmos would then be only one bubble in a frothing infinity. Ancient Anaximander would probably nod. Many worlds, many laws. And then there's the boldest proposal of all, Max Tegmark's mathematical universe. He argues our universe is a mathematical structure, and that every consistent mathematical structure corresponds to a real universe. In that view, anything that can exist without contradiction does. Geometry itself births galaxies. Look around, and a pattern emerges. From mystics to mathematicians, from Plato to Planck-scale physics, the signal is the same. Reality is deeper and more numerous than it looks. Now, what does any of this mean for you? Consider one unsettling implication. Perhaps death is not a hard stop, but a handoff, closing your eyes here and opening them in a neighboring branch. Awareness continuing along the most survivable path. If consciousness isn't just a passive witness, but a participant in how worlds resolve, then maybe it selects branches, synchronizes with states, or moves across levels when the old conditions fail. Think about dreams, deep trance, altered states. If our minds resonate with the quantum field, the primal sea out of which everything condenses, then under certain conditions they might tune to neighboring realities and pull information across. If all of us are patterns in a single field, then on some level we remain connected. Variations of one root humming in different keys. Push it one step further. We live in 3 spatial dimensions, but many traditions and many equations speak of higher ones. From the vantage of a higher dimension, a lower dimension is transparent, fully visible. A 2-dimensional world is a shadow to a 3-dimensional being. By analogy, our 3D space would be a shadow to a 4D observer. Plato's cave, updated with physics. The saints said, "This world is a manifestation, not the source." The philosophers said, "The forms are more real than their reflections." The physicists say, "Observation helps write the script." So where does the journey end? Do we circle back to our origin, completing a great arc? Do we rise, 4th, 5th, 6th dimension, until we meet the boundary where everything converges? Those who claim to have glimpsed other worlds, like Dick, were they unwell? Or were they simply porous to the currents that bind realities together? He once warned, in essence, if you think this world is bad, you should see the others. In his stories, some branches are darker than ours. Others glow like unreachable utopias. Which is the real one? Maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe they all are, and none is final. Here's what does matter. We are here, now. Whether there are a million versions of you or only one, your chance to experience this moment is real. That alone is rare. Treat it like the gift it is. Live what's in front of you, fully. Theories are thrilling, possibilities endless, but as far as we know, there is no other you who knows they are here right now. If you came looking for neat, absolute answers, then you've misunderstood quantum theory's strangest gift. It doesn't silence questions, it multiplies them. It cracks the certainty of naive logic and asks us to think wider, feel deeper, and hold paradox without panic. This series isn't a map with a red X. It's a training ground for curiosity, a way to stretch your mind around the edges of what might be. And yes, it will get more confusing before it clarifies. That's the point. Because at the end of the road, we won't just be comparing dreams and parallel worlds. We'll press on the most fundamental question of all. What is reality? If you want to walk that last stretch with me, subscribe, turn on notifications, and come back next week. We'll step past the mirrors and see what's looking back. Until then, take care and stay curious.